Hey everybody, it's me, Calvin Benson. And welcome back to my big ranking of every single movie I've seen that's released in the year 2024. This is one big video, and in order for it not to take too long to get it out there, I've split it into parts. This is part 3, and the first 2 parts are, if you want to watch them, in the description. So no more yapping. Here are the next tiers in the ultimate 2024 movie ranking. Let's just start it. And next, in 54th place, I have Borderlands. Alright, I know. Why the fuck do I have Borderlands this high up? After all, it is the worst reviewed movie of the year, what's called the worst video game movie. It was a box office bomb, and overall, the consensus is it's one of the biggest movie failures of all time, both financially and critically. So then why is it above everything else that I've talked about? It's not because I have a connection to the Borderlands games. I've never even played any of the games before. So why do I like this movie? Honestly, I don't know. I can't really explain why I don't hate this. A lot of the big criticisms are true. It does feel so clearly like an attempt to copy Guardians of the Galaxy, with a group of misfits forced to partner up for a big space mission to rescue a McMuffin, but not doing it nearly as well as that movie. Kevin Hart is just playing Kevin Hart again, but what do you expect? Outside of Kevin Hart, the acting is fine. Jamie Lee Curtis is always good, but everyone else is fine. The one unironically good part of the movie is Claptrap. He's a quippy robot played by Jack Black, and every one of his lines are genuinely funny. Other than that, I don't have much to say to praise the movie. I just enjoyed it. I guess when one is watching a movie, you're always looking for detail, for meaning, depth, looking for performances, for good dialogue, for a rich story, but for me, when I saw this, I was just looking for a good time. And really, walking out of the theater happy, I thought to myself, should I really then ruin the magic of enjoying the film by picking apart all of its issues? Or should I let the movie stay enjoyable? Critics be damned. And I chose the latter. And next up, stomping into 53rd place, I have the movie where Godzilla and Kong teamed up, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, the next film in the MonsterVerse. Okay, now it's kind of been a divisive topic on this movie. Some love it, some hate it. And I think that kind of stems from Godzilla Minus One, which came out just a few months before this movie. That movie was perfect, amazing, interesting, a truly great kaiju movie. And then this movie comes along a few months later and is goofy as hell. They go for the wildest things in this movie and do not take anything seriously. There's not really much depth or super grounded realistic moments, but it's not trying to be. Honestly, the biggest complaint people have had on the MonsterVerse is there's too much human stuff, so I respect that they minimized the humans and had Kong as the main character. The scenes where it is just Kong, no dialogue, no other characters, just him, are great. They really show his humanity, like with Kong feeling lonely in Hollow Earth, wanting to be with another ape like him. Those were the best parts, when it was truly just about these characters, about Kong, about Godzilla, and even Zuko. Heck, even some of the actual human characters are pretty good. But the actual Titan action is what people came here for, and they deliver. Holy shit, when the kaijus fight, it is the coolest shit ever. Kong packs a hell of a punch, literally, and every time Godzilla uses the heat blast and he just decimates the kaiju, absolute cinema, movie of the year. Sometimes it's just fine to watch some insanely cool action. This movie and Godzilla Minus One are night and day, but they're going for different things. We had the kaiju movie masterpiece, now it's time for a fun blast. They delivered on a wild ride of Godzilla and King Kong teaming up and fighting other monsters. And that's enough for me. And next up in 52nd place, I have the weirdest movie of the year, Megalopolis. The lifelong passion project of who many say is the greatest director of all time, Francis Ford Coppola. Holy shit, what a movie. And I don't know whether I mean that as saying that it's a fantastic movie, or the worst movie I've ever seen. And that's just because of how weird it is. If I had to describe the film in one word, it would be experimental. From the structure, to the line delivery, to the shots, and especially the pacing. The pacing feels so off. Stuff just happens, without people reacting to it. And spoiler alert, the Soviet nuclear satellite was built up throughout the entire movie that it would crash and it would be a massive thing. And then it just crashes into the city. The characters stand around a crater, acting mildly surprised, and then we just forget about it for the rest of the movie. In some parts, the movie is comically bad, but there's a sense of earnestness from Coppola that I can't help but to play along and try to see the movie in his lens. And when doing that, I kinda get it. The skeleton of a fantastic movie is here, from the metaphor for ancient Rome, to the unique characters, to the cinematography, but it all kinda fumbles the bag in execution. The Rome metaphor is actually great, just saying how we've fallen into the same traps that caused Rome to fall. We have learned nothing. On paper, it's excellent, but in execution, Coppola just hammers the metaphor in, like having the main character be named Caesar. Sure wonder why he's named that. And the movie is set in New Rome. Yeah, real thinker as to what that's a metaphor for. It's a common occurrence in this film, to have a great element be introduced, only to be completely fumbled. Like Lawrence Fishburne's character. Lawrence Fishburne was giving the best performance of the entire dang movie, but he ends up only being in it for like 10 minutes. I could go on, but I'll just say that I see what Coppola wanted to accomplish in this, and maybe in his prime, he could have really made a masterpiece. But now we just have this weird Schrodinger's cat of a movie, where it's both the worst movie ever made and one of the best of the last decade at the same exact time. Coppola clearly threw a ton of stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and for me, a couple things stuck. And now, popping out of the toaster into 51st place, I have the Jerry Seinfeld comedy movie Unfrosted, which is actually the directorial debut of Jerry Seinfeld. The movie is about the creation of Pop-Tarts and how Kellogg's and Post raced to be the first to make a breakfast pastry. But the gimmick is, it's treated the same way as the space race, with Kellogg's and Post paralleling the good guys versus the Russians. That's an actually funny idea, inherently. Giving cereal brands competing to release the first Pop-Tart the same weight and impact as the race to the moon is rich with comedy. But instead of just a normal comedic tone, they go for a more out-there style. This is not the same type of comedy seen in Jerry Seinfeld's other work. Usually, his comedy is about smart one-liners, drawn-out punchlines, small humor coming from characters, but this movie is just absurdist humor. Very, very similar to the comedy sketch show I Think You Should Leave. Honestly, this movie feels exactly like I Think You Should Leave. Like, this is what an I Think You Should Leave spin-off movie would look like. And if that show is your kind of comedy, you'll love this movie. This movie's great, but otherwise, yeah, I can see why someone wouldn't like this. I mean, there's an entire section about Chef Boyardee raising a living Pop-Tart puppet, and Bill Burr is JFK. It is not meant to be taken seriously, it's just a funny film. And it makes me kinda hungry for Pop-Tarts. And, coming up next, in the big-ass 50th place, I got the A24 comedy Y2K. This movie feels nothing like the usual stuff from A24. I mean, it's a comedy about robots making mechs and enslaving people to take over the world. Not exactly this studio's usual fare. The premise is really good though. Any person alive during the turn of the millennium knows exactly how crazy the talk was around a possible technological apocalypse during the year 2000. Nothing ended up happening, other than some airport boarding displays saying the wrong number. But the idea of what if there really was a robot apocalyptic scenario still stuck around. And this film is showing what would have happened if the world did go to shit. But this film does not take itself seriously at all. Everything is pushed to the extreme. The most mundane object can massacre dozens of people, there's a killer Tamagotchi, and some robots just fuse with other tech like it's the Blob, and start becoming this big monster, and start making an army of mind-controlling humans. That actually is a pretty creative idea, but I was kinda hoping they would take this idea of the apocalypse a bit more seriously. But it is a comedy, and as a comedy, it's fine. A lot of the jokes didn't land for me, but they aren't meant for me. They're meant for the people from this era. This so clearly feels like a movie made because the people making it just love that time. And honestly, it kind of fits the plot, because this movie feels just like a movie from the Y2K era. Not much more to say. And next up, in 49th place, I have the new movie starring the GOAT Anthony Mackie, Elevation. Featuring one of my favorite movie plot templates. Hard-to-kill monsters take over the world. And this movie ain't nothing special, but it's really enjoyable. I do like the plot of the monsters themselves. There's some actual twists thrown in that make it even more cool. The big issue is that it feels like the director himself could have done better. Not with the script or shots, those are actually great, but the directing. With stuff like the pacing or delivery, that's where the film goes downhill, no pun intended. Like, I can tell on script that this was a banger, but the execution wasn't all there. Especially in some of the sets. The low budget honestly does show. And I hate to say that as a criticism, because the people making these creative decisions had no say in the budget. But it still affects the film. The whole thing just screams cheap. On a positive note, the cinematography, like I mentioned a second ago, is really good. Each shot of Anthony Mackie walking around features like a wide shot of not only him, but the landscape around him. And also just having many helicopter shots of the mountain range to just really show the scale of the film. I like it. It just lets you soak in the world, this forest, this vast landscape, with all the little changes made to it for the plot and world building. Which, speaking of, the world is fleshed out, and there's a ton of tiny details they didn't need to throw in, like there being more horses and cows because humans weren't there to hunt them, and all these other factions of human survivors, and systems of getting supplies. It's just cool to see a world that feels real, but with all these great ideas and parts, the movie could have done much better in actually executing them, instead of just getting by as a fine movie. And next, in 48th place, there is The Fall Guy, the action movie about a stuntman in an action movie. Man, this is such a great little movie. It's a great blend of comedy and action, and it's all about filmmaking itself. And an easy highlight is the leads. The main reason most people saw this, and for good reason, is for Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. And both are great. Emily Blunt is really good in the movie, and Ryan Gosling is too. Not just as a good action guy, but he's just a funny actor. He has good comedic timing. In that aspect, he's kind of an underrated actor. His character in the film is really funny. Not in a quippy action way, but just as a regular dude making jokes. Which is perfect for his character, Colt Seavers, in this movie, because he is just a regular guy who's a stuntman. Only reason he became an actual action fighter in the film was to just find the missing star of the movie directed by Emily Blunt's character, Jodie, so it doesn't get cancelled. And it was really smart how they utilized Colt being a stuntman for the actual action, because when he would end up fighting bad guys, he'd already be prepared to dodge, jump off rooftops, fake getting killed. That aspect was really great. They really explored that idea of a stuntman actually being a real-life action hero. But more than just a usual action movie, this feels like a culmination of all action movies. A celebration of everything that goes into making one. David Leitch, the director of this movie, who also directed John Wick and Bullet Train, has spent so much time making action movies that he knows how much goes into making one. So now, this movie celebrates each and every part of it. A love letter to the people behind movies, from the stunt actors to the cameramen to the PAs, all showing how much work it takes to make an action movie inside of an action movie. It's a genius blend of these different elements to make a movie that's simply fun to watch, whether watching it as a rom-com, a typical action movie, a representation of filmmaking. It's great as all of those. It's too bad it underperformed at the box office, because this is a really special film, but sometimes profit doesn't matter, especially with such great films like this. And with that, that's gonna be the end of this section of the ranking. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I also hope you'll stick around for the next parts. And trust me, it's gonna get a lot more interesting as to what films show up how high on the list. So hopefully I'll see you later, but at least for this video, I'm Calvin Minson, and thank you for watching.